I don't know if you've heard, you're close to Philadelphia there, but the Eagles are 8-0. That's the first time in franchise history. Let me give you some historical context. They're now one of 29 teams in the Super Bowl era to start 8-0. And the 28 others, 15, this is a good stat from CBS today, 15 made it to the Super Bowl and 8 won the title. So history is on the Eagles' side with this start. I wrote down in my notes for the Eagles, it was choppy, workmanlike. Hurts was efficient. And here's what I wrote down with Hurts, and it's something you and I have discussed. The intangible that's going to get him paid is his leadership. The team loves him. You can tell they galvanize around him.
No doubt. I mean, look, let's be clear. This is how effective and efficient Philadelphia has been on offense this year. They have only committed 3 turnovers through 8 games. 3. And so when you have this differential in turnovers like they do, they're number 1 in the league in protecting the ball. They're number 1 in the league in turning the ball over. And then without even saying another thing after that, that's all you need to say.
That's incredible.
They're really good. And I thought they played their, we've talked about this with Amal. They're on the Gonzaga schedule, right? So they're really not going to get challenged. I mean, they have 10 days until the Commodores come to town. We'll see. They go play the Colts. I mean, they have Green Bay and Tennessee and the Giants in the late after Thanksgiving. I think they'll lose one of those games. I really do. And I don't think they'll mind losing one of those games. I think they know they need to get tested. They know they need to be in a fight. They tried to make it last night that was a fight when everybody knew there was no way the Texans were winning the game. Now, everybody thought the Texans might keep it close and, all that. But there was never a sense watching that game last night that you felt like the Texans were ever going to steal the win. Never.
No. I would agree with that. It was a mismatch. And you talk about the schedule, so we can go there. Some of the doubters as far as the Eagles would point to, they beat the Lions, they beat the Vikings, they beat Washington, they beat the Jags, they beat the Cards, Cowboys with Rush, the Steelers, and now the Texans. So for bettors moving forward, because it's not a tough schedule, is it a bit of a paper tiger, or is this a team that is legit?
Well, they can't control who they play, right? I mean, and they've dominated everybody they've played. I mean, now where there's a little bit of leaky oil is because they've been willing to let you run the ball. I mean, last night the Texans ran for 168. They only threw for 135. The week before, the Steelers ran for 144, only threw for 158. The week before that, Dallas ran for 134, only threw for 181. So, like in Detroit, the opening game of the year, Detroit actually might have played their best game. They had 205 yards passing, 181 yards rushing. So they had some balance in that game. I think, to me, it's going to take a certain kind of team. It's going to take, and Houston had the element of the team, right? It's going to take a fast defensive line, a Jerry Hughes type edges. San Francisco has that. It's going to take some stoutness inside. San Francisco has that. It's going to take linebackers that tackle really well. San Francisco has that. And it's going to take an offense that can control the football with balance. San Francisco has that too. So I think the divisional title, to me, it looks like it's coming down the road. It's going to be San Francisco, Philly. They're the 2 best teams in the NFC. The Rams are not good. The Rams are a brand, but they're not good. Seattle's better at being the Rams than the Rams are being the Rams.
I agree.
Seattle runs the Rams offense. So when I watch Philly, there's nothing you can do. Now, how you attack them, how you strategize to play them, that's interesting. Because I think what you've seen over since probably the turnover fest with Jacksonville in week 4, the Eagle offense hasn't been as explosive as we've seen it been earlier in the year. I mean, think about this, Patrick. Now, other than Pittsburgh and other than the first game of the season, Pittsburgh off the bye, opening of the season, they're the only times they've gotten the scoreboard into the 30s.
Their schedule is impossibly good. Now, what I mean by that is, you mentioned the Week 7 bye, kind of perfect, and then they go Pittsburgh. It wasn't a tough game. Then they go Texans. Now, remember, they don't play until next Monday night, so they've got 11 days, and they got the Commodores. And then after that, it's Indy and Green Bay. It's setting up nicely. Jordan Davis is out, the big kid in the middle, so he'll get healthy. But again, Hargrave had 6 tackles and 3 sacks. Defense had 2 interceptions. It was workmanlike victory, but they were just so much better than the Texans.
So much better. And that as long as they didn't turn it over, and they've only had 3 turnovers all season. They only had 3 if they don't turn it over and you turn it over, the chances of you winning is great. And so even though they were sloppy last night where they had a fumble in the pocket, I didn't think that they played their best. They played a C game and won by 12. That's pretty good.
Yeah, I mean, the first thing I do when I look at the box is you look at turnovers and penalties, and then you kind of spider off from there, and they haven't turned the football over. 4 for 4 in the red zone. Miles Sanders, 17 carries, 93 rush, so he hits the over prop. Goddard, 8, 100, and a touchdown. I mean, it's just the team's loaded. Roseman's done a good job putting this team together. Let me ask you about the coach, because you wrote about the coach in the Lombardi Look Ahead. What do you attribute the success for Sirianni to?
I think what Sirianni has done is kept his ego out of it, right? So one of the things I've learned through this whole thing is I have always been a big believer in the power of somebody organizing the organization, the head coach, the Walsh, the Belichick type model. Well, I think what Philadelphia realizes that model doesn't exist. They had it with Andy Reid. It really doesn't exist. So they've had I've often said this about Philadelphia. They value the organization, the power of the organization more than just the head coach. And Sirianni's come in and really done a nice job. Now, they've gotten Jonathan Gannon to change what he does structurally, defensively. They're analytical based. They're also implementation of the analytics as it applies to the personnel. They're fitting personnel to where they want to go. I think that's a credit to them. And offensively, I know they want to throw the ball. I know Jeff Lurie believes in throwing the ball, but they've adapted to the 6-back offense because it gives them the best chance at the quarterback that they have. It gives them the best chance at the quarterback that they have. I truly think if they felt like they could improve and get a pure passer that would throw it, they might go down that road. But what they are dealing with, they're managing correctly. They're no different than the Giants. They just have a better offensive line, a better defensive line, and a better team. But they're managing the game correctly. Sirianni deserves a lot of the credit. I think the organization does as well, because I think if you study Sirianni's background, I can't imagine this is all coming from him.
Visit VSiN.com to get current odds, listen for free, find showtimes, and download VSiN sports betting podcasts.